Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
It's possible. Very.
In the hallway, you say you also saw assistant football coach Aaron Feis.
Yes, sir. I saw him running towards the gunshots as soon as they had started to happen.
Tell me about Aaron Feis. You can tell by looking at you, you were a football player.
Yes, sir. I did the summer program. We were lifting weights, and I couldn't do it with job and ROTC, but I still lifted, and I had a close relationship with Coach Feis. Very selfless man. He was made sure that everybody else's needs were met before his own. He was a hard worker. He worked after school on the weekends, mowing lawns, just helping as many people out as possible. Very friendly, approachable, and very selfless.
So when you saw him running down that hallway to help, you thought this is just the kind of thing Coach Feis does?
Absolutely. That's Coach Feis. He wants to make sure everybody's safe before himself.
What did you hear happened to him?
I heard that he had used himself to shield other, I believe it was 3 females that were in the line of fire. He used his body to shield them.
You told me you spent yesterday morning with Coach Feis in the
sir.
office.
After second period, I saw him in the hallway, and we walked in the office, and I mean, we talked for like 20 minutes, just talking about normal stuff. How's work? What are you doing after school today? How's football going? That kind of thing.
What's it feel like knowing Coach Feis is gone today?
He's definitely in a better place now. I'm glad that he didn't suffer that much. It's sad because it's not going to be the same without him at school anymore. That's for sure. Football definitely won't be the same. We're definitely going to have to band back together as brothers and mourn his loss and pick up the pieces to try to rebuild our football team.
Watch. Student explains how hero coach could have stopped Florida shooting if he had his gun. A student who witnessed the Florida school shooting is arguing that if the football coach who died sacrificing himself as a human shield had been armed, he would have been able to stop the shooter. By Rachel Blevins, February 19, 2018. Parkland, Florida, football coach Aaron Feis was one of the first victims whose name was publicly announced in the shooting that killed 17 people, and as students tell stories of how he turned himself into a human shield in order to save them, one student is arguing that if the coach was armed, he could have stopped the shooter. Feis is remembered as someone who died the same way he lived. He put himself second, after he reportedly sacrificed himself in order to shield 3 students from a hail of bullets. At the time, Feis did everything in his power to protect his students, but what if he had been able to do more to save both his life and the lives of others? What if he had been able to fight back against the gunman? Colton Hobb, 17, a student at Stoneman Douglas High School who witnessed the shooting, has argued that if Feis was allowed to have his gun on campus, he could have taken down the shooter. In an interview with Fox News, Hobb said, "I believe if we did bring firearms on campus to teachers that are willing to carry their firearm on school campuses and they got their correct training for it, I think that would be a big beneficial factor for school safety. Because if Coach Feis had had his firearm in school that day, I believe that he most likely could have stopped the threat." Hobb is a member of the school's Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, and he said that as soon as he heard gunshots ring out, he jumped into action and ushered as many as 70 students into a room, whether they used bulletproof Kevlar mats from the ROTC's marksmanship program as shields, in case they were discovered by the shooter. "We lined the students up into the wall and along the back of the wall, and from there I was standing with my first sergeant and I said, 'These are Kevlar, these are bulletproof material,'" Hobb said. "We started moving the Kevlar sheets forward." Hobb's assertion that Feis could have taken down the shooter if he had been armed, is an argument that has been made by a number of people when looking at how to prevent mass shootings in the future. Judge Andrew Napolitano argued that it is impossible to keep all mentally unstable individuals from having access to firearms, but it is possible to train teachers and faculty members to be prepared for a deadly threat. You can't keep a lunatic from wanting to kill somebody, and you can't keep a person from wanting to get a gun, who is determined to get one no matter what laws you write, Napolitano said. The only way to stop this is by superior firepower. These things always end when the police arrive and either shoot or threaten to shoot. That should happen sooner rather than later. There are a number of public schools in the United States that allow teachers to carry concealed weapons, based on the belief that replacing gun-free zones with warnings of armed personnel will serve as a much stronger deterrent to intruders. The Harold Independent School District in Texas was one of the first in the country to allow concealed carry, and Superintendent David Thweet told KFDX News that not only are the weapons concealed, but the faculty members who carry them are approved by the school board, they receive additional training, and their identities are not made public. They keep it on them at all times, Thweet said. Folks who come in, if they are coming in to do something like just happened, then they don't know where they are going to meet resistance, and that is very critical to our plan. So, it's very simple, train the individuals and keep them here. Make sure people know that is exactly what we will do to answer an intruder.
Two Texoma school districts already have policies in place that they think help ensure the safety of students. Landon McBride spoke with the superintendents of those districts, and these policies that allow teachers to carry concealed handguns have actually been in place for a while.
That's right. Both Harold and Holiday have been allowing members of their staffs to carry for years now, with Harold being one of the first in the nation to do so. And leaders in both districts say the majority of the feedback they've gotten has been positive. Faculty members are selected by the school board and trained beyond just receiving a concealed carry license. Those teachers' names and the number of guns are not released, so that it would be harder for a possible intruder to plan for what they will face.
They keep it on them at all times. And folks who come in, if they're coming in to do something like just happened, then they don't know where they're going to meet resistance, and that's very critical to our plan. So it's very simple. Just train the individuals and keep them here, and make sure that people know that that is exactly what we will do to answer an intruder.
Parents in both Harold and Holiday districts are, for the most part, on board with the policies.
It was probably iffy, as it was for the first several years. That all changed in December of 2012 after Sandy Hook. Suddenly, that took on a whole new meaning.
Over in Holiday, leaders say parents find comfort knowing people in the district have been properly trained just in case.
They have expressed that they feel better. And you know, basically all they've ever said was, do y'all have a CKC local? You know, yes ma'am, yes sir, we do. Good, you know, good. Glad to know that, or whatever. So if there has been any response, to my knowledge, the vast majority.
Matter of fact, they'll maybe talk about, hey, when media's here, what are they here for? Well, it's because we have a school that has guns. What? We do? And they're really surprised by it.
While both of these schools see concealed carry as a way to help protect students and staff, they know this is just one part of a much bigger plan. And since they first started to allow faculty members to carry concealed guns, Holiday has implemented controlled access to all campuses. Concealed carry for faculty at these schools is a safeguard in case someone manages to get through the other security measures that they already have in place.
All right, Landon, thanks so much. And by the way, nearly a third of the country, a total of 18 states, allows adults to carry a loaded gun on school grounds with certain permission.
90 of his classmates into an ROTC training room and covering them with bulletproof Kevlar sheets.
The quick-thinking teen then armed himself with pieces of wood, 2x4, and a fire extinguisher, waiting for the gunman to enter, ready to fight.
17-year-old Colton Hobb, a junior ROTC student at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, joins us from Parkland, Florida, with his story. Welcome, Colton. I don't even know what to say. I mean, how did you have the wherewithal to think about doing this and protecting your fellow students in such a tragic situation?
First of all, I'd like to say good morning. Personally, for me, everything is about your mindset in a horrific situation like this. If you're not able to defend yourself and make sure that everyone around you gets home safe, then you could possibly end up a victim. So for me, my main goal was to make sure that everyone got home safe to their family. So I got as many people as I could into that classroom. And then from there, I just tried to arm myself and be ready for the worst.
So Colton, you were not alerted by an alarm. You were alerted by 7 gunshots. You counted, you heard them. They were close enough to be heard, which means when you were taking these immediate actions, you were anticipating the shooter could be coming to your classroom next. What actions did you take specifically in that classroom?
So as soon as I had heard the 7 gunshots, I immediately turned around. I had closed the door, ran into the second ROTC room when we had housed the 90 people that we had brought in. And from there, I just wanted to make sure everyone got into the classroom safely. We lined them up into the wall and along the back of the wall, as well as into a utility closet that we had in the room. And from there, I was standing with my first sergeant, and I said, First Sergeant Navarro, these are Kevlar, these are bulletproof material. Let's move these in front of everybody. So he agreed to do that, and me and my fellow friend, Zach Walsh, who's also an ROTC cadet, we started moving the Kevlar sheets forward.
Colton, let me ask you, this debate is now emerging about guns on campus. Do you believe that's something that we should be looking at?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, gun control, it's definitely needed a little bit more. I don't think that we're going to get gun control in such a quick enough response. I believe that if we did bring firearms on campus to teachers that are willing to carry their firearm on school campus, if they got their correct training for it, I think that would be a big beneficial factor into school safety. Just because, I mean, if Coach Feist had had his firearm in school that day, I believe that he could have most likely stopped the threat.
Right, because Coach Feist was a security guard as well as the coach of the football team. I understand that you actually saw the coach maybe seconds before he passed away, or at some point during this tragedy. Tell us about that.
Yes, ma'am. As I was listening to the gunshots fired, I looked to my left to see if I could see the shooter possibly, and I did see Coach Feist on his golf cart headed towards the freshman building.
So he was going to help people.
Yes, ma'am. He was like that, very selfless. Always
Absolutely.
wanted to help somebody.
His story is so powerful. Colton, you know, you talk about a mindset. After you put those Kevlar shields up for your classmates, you and some others grabbed 2x4s and fire extinguishers. Ultimately, what are normally not weapons became weapons in that moment. Talk about what you were prepared to do, and also you say you want to enter the military at some point. What is part of your mindset that made you prepared for that situation?
So once we had the Kevlar sheets in place, we grabbed the 2x4s and the fire extinguisher. So my plan was to have my friend Zachary, he had a second 2x4, and we had tipped 2 tables up, so that was his cover. I was along the wall next to the door, so if that door had opened, my plan was to strike the individual, and then another friend of mine, his name was Giancarlo Correa, I gave him the fire extinguisher. I said, spray that door. Just try to get as much as that fire extinguisher out. Just so it kind of disorients him. From that point, I asked him to please roll me the fire extinguisher. That way I could use it as a weapon.
Colton, I really applaud your actions and your quick thinking and putting your training to work. And you have a younger brother. He's okay?
Yes, sir. He's okay. He was actually in the same building as I was, in the second floor of it. He originally had heard the gunshots, thought that gunman was actually coming up the stairs, that he was going down. So he immediately turned around and hightailed it back to his classroom, where he had an issue getting in, but he finally did get in, and he's
Colton,
safe today.
I think I speak on a lot of people. I'm grateful I live in a country where guys like you are willing to do what you do now, but you said you want to join either the Marines or the Coast Guard. Thank you for your service mindset, for your courage on that day. You were prepared to give your life for other people, which is, there's no higher calling.
An inspiration of leadership, absolutely. Thank you, Colton.
Well done. Thank you, Colton.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Calls are growing. Oh, thank you, sir.
County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too, because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, you know, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, you know, at least I can do it. You know, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.